for Alita Battle Angel. Now, full disclosure, confession, I actually saw this movie about a week ago, but I did not have time at all to put out the spoiler review. I put out my spoiler-free review, which you can read down there, but I did not have time to put out the spoiler review, so now I'm filming it, and I'm also doing 2 other movies today, as you'll probably see if you already clicked the channel for How to Train Your Dragon 3 and Happy Death Day 2. So let's start with Alita, because that's the one that's higher priority, because that's the oldest, that's the one I have been putting off doing for a while, for who knows why. Yeah, this was actually really good. One of the complaints that everyone says about this movie was that the plot was kind of all over the place and it was hard to follow. It wasn't hard to follow for me. I actually thought it was really easy. Yeah, I mean, I kind of... Okay, it does have the same problem that Valerian does, which is the and-then narrative. So it does have that. So I kind of get where they're coming from, but I was able to follow it pretty well. And I thought the action scenes were really fun, especially the... I forget what it's called, the battle sequence in the Coliseum, the kill ring, whatever it's called. Whatever, but the commentators during the battle, those were funny. Like, it's a shame that I couldn't hear most of what they were saying because the music and sound effects really overshadowed the dialogue during that part. So when I get it on Blu-ray, I'll have to put the subtitles on during that part to see if I missed any jokes during that part. But it reminded me a lot of the pottery scene from Star Wars 1, with the 2-headed alien commentator. It reminded me a lot of that. It's very, very similar. That scene alone, especially in 3D, because I usually don't see movies in 3D because it's usually an extra $6 and it's usually not worth it. But this movie was totally worth it, especially with the... this movie was made for 3D. This is James Cameron. This is the guy who did Avatar. Avatar, like, redefined what 3D was. So definitely spend the extra money to see this in 3D if you can, if your theater has a 3D show. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And a lot of people also said that they didn't like, I guess, the anime eyes of the main character, which I can understand that, but apart from, like, 1 or 2 scenes, and I think that was the angle. Like, when it's staring directly at you like I'm doing right now, it's fine. When it's off to the side, like when there was a side profile, then it looked kind of weird. So I don't know if maybe it was just the way it's recommended, but it looks pretty good for the most part. It was not that distracting. And my goodness, the villain, Mahershala Ali, was so good in this movie. Everyone was good in this movie, actually. There were no characters or actors where I went, I don't like you. Why are you in this scene? Please leave. No, none of that. But he was probably the standout performance of this movie. Because he wasn't like this over-the-top crazy villain that usually is in these types of movies. He was like more subtle and, like you don't justify what he's doing. You don't justify his actions. But you do understand why certain characters join his side. So... he just has that, subtleness of, if you join me, I will give you all the things you want. I'm lying to you, but you don't know that I'm lying. But you're going to join me, right? Like, the very, just, like, subtle... he was so good in this movie. Just fantastic. I'm really hoping this gets a sequel. It is doing pretty well, as far as... it hasn't quite made its budget back, which is a shame. But it appears to be slowly getting its budget back, which is good. So I'm hoping that we get a sequel or a TV show or something, because I really want to return to this world. This world was just so amazingly crafted. The characters were amazing. Everything about the movie was just so good. I mean, there isn't really anything that I can nitpick about the movie. I wanted to say, okay, well, was there one thing in the movie that I didn't like? And I couldn't really, other than maybe that the end, there is no ending. That's the one thing about the movie I don't like. There is no ending. I mean technically there's an ending, but it's not full circle ending. It's a to be continued ending, which you shouldn't do unless it's guaranteed that you're going to get more movies. This has not been guaranteed that it's going to get more movies. It has not been guaranteed that it's going to get more movies. So it's not like, you know, Hunger Games or Harry Potter where they had signed contracts to do all of the movies at once, or, you know, Lord of the Rings, they signed contracts to do all the movies back to back. So if this doesn't get a sequel, then that's a waste. You know, there's so many times this has happened with, like, Amazing Spider-Man or The Fifth Wave or Divergent, where, like, all of these movies that have to be continued and they don't continue. And then you're like, well, that was a waste of my time and my money. So if this doesn't get a sequel or some sort of continuation, maybe like in a TV show form, then that's going to be a shame. So I'm really hoping that this gets a sequel, because I really want to return to this world. Alita was such a good movie. Okay, so if you have not seen the movie yet, go see it. It is such a fantastic movie. I don't know if it's going to be on my best of 2019, because it's still February. There's still a lot of movies coming out in 2019. But it was actually really good. Like, it definitely has the... I don't know, it's hard to describe. Robert Rodriguez has a certain type of film. And I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. Like, I can look at a movie not knowing that he directed it and go, this is probably a Robert Rodriguez movie. I don't know, it's very hard to describe exactly what that is. But it definitely feels like that. Honestly, yeah, it does feel a little bit like... Also, with James Cameron being involved, too, it does feel a little bit like movies like Terminator. You know, with all the robots and crazy. Oh, by the way, the character designs. I know this review is kind of all over the place, but the character designs in this movie are some of the most creative that I have seen in, like, any sci-fi movie. Whoever did the character designs, the art direction, big thumb way up. He was... Oh my gosh, these characters, some of the most creative robot designs I've seen. Looking at that, I'm like, whoa, that is... How did they come up with that? That was such a crazy character design. These were, like, very creatively designed characters. You know, I'm hoping that they release a book, an art book, that shows, like, the art of Alita. I hope they'll do, like, the art of Star Wars, the art of Avengers, or the art of, you know, whatever movies. Not limited to just those two. They do the art of books for a lot of movies. I'm hoping that this gets one of those if they haven't gotten one already, because I will definitely get it, because I just want to look at all these character designs and see. You know, maybe there were even some characters that that didn't make the cut. So I'm hoping maybe, oh, well, this character didn't make the cut, and it's very creatively designed. So yeah, this movie was fantastic action film. I loved it. I'm definitely going to get it, and I'm really hoping that there is a sequel.